Welcome to the Resilient Retail Game Plan, a podcast for anyone wanting to start, grow or scale a profitable creative product business with me, Catherine Eardley. The Resilient Retail Game Plan is a podcast dedicated to one thing, breaking down the concepts and tools that I've gathered from 20 years in the retail industry and showing you how you can use them in your business. This is the real nuts and bolts of running a successful product business, broken down in an easy, accessible way. This is not a podcast about learning how to make your business look good. It's the tools and techniques that will make you and your business feel good. Confidently plan, launch and manage your products, and feel in control of your sales numbers and cash flow to help you build a resilient retail business. Hello there, it's Catherine Eardley, small business retail expert and founder of the Resilient Retail Club, which is my membership group and consultancy for creative product businesses. You're listening to episode number 93 of the Resilient Retail Game Plan, and this week's episode is all about creating a resilient sales strategy. So what is strategy? It's one of those words that gets bounced around a lot, especially in the online business world. And some people hate it. Some people refuse to use the word strategy. Some people absolutely love it. I, of course, as a strategic consultant and small business expert, love a bit of strategy talk. But what I wanted to focus on today is really this idea of resilience and how strategy can help with that. So it's no secret, every single year, I think I say that this has been a tough year. But of course, 2022, with its focus on the cost of living crisis and consumer concerns, is yet another one of those very difficult years. And I think if you're a product business owner, perhaps you may have seen growth through 2020, 2021, and maybe into 2022 as well. But I think the resounding feedback I have from a lot of people I talk to is that it just feels that much harder this year. So I think that's where a really good sales strategy comes in and where it really helps build up that idea of resilience. So what I wanted to do in today's episode is talk you through a few of the things that you need to create an effective sales strategy. And if you prefer to think about it as what that looks like in terms of planning, then that's fine too. But we're going to just talk about some different elements. And I think also, to a certain extent, the way that I see big businesses look at their sales maybe a little bit differently to small businesses, and a different perspective to help you keep going throughout 2022. So what do you need to have an effective sales strategy? Well, I'd say one of the key things about an effective sales strategy is around diversification. So looking at lots of different ways that you can grow as opposed to focusing exclusively on one tactic, for example, social media. So an effective sales strategy really looks at the 4 ways that you can grow sales. So the only 4 ways that you can grow your sales are to get more people to come, to get more people to buy when they do come, to get people to spend more, I should say, when they come, and to get people to come back more often. All of those elements will help you grow your sales, and they'll also, if employed all together, will help you grow your sales more consistently. What people tend to do when they're thinking about their sales is they tend to focus in, as I said, on more like a tactic. So they think, right, I really need to get started on TikTok, which may be true, may be great. But don't forget, starting on TikTok is definitely squarely in the category of get more people to come. So that's number 1. And the benefit of getting more people to come is that that's lots of fresh eyes on your business, lots of opportunities for people to see your business and who maybe haven't seen it before. But it's also the hardest thing to do, and it's probably the lowest converting type of audience as well. A lot of the time when you see people, for example, tracking their conversion rate by traffic type, social media tends to be a very low converting type of traffic. So putting all of your effort and energy into social media strategy, for example, can be quite tiring and exhausting and maybe won't see the best results. So really, if you break it down then to these 4 sections, getting more people to come, more people to buy when they do come, getting people to spend more, and getting people to come back more frequently, you can start seeing how there are going to be certain actions that are attached to all of those different types of ways of growing their sales. So for example, getting more people to come. This also can cover a huge number of different types of activities. So that could be PR, so signing up to somewhere like PR Dispatch or working with a PR specialist to help you get your products into publications and maybe even share your founder story as well. It could be about SEO, making sure that search engines can actually find your website, and that the 50% of all sales that start with somebody Googling or putting a search term into a search engine, you're capturing some of those sales. So that's really important. Collaborations, one of my favorite ways of growing your sales and growing your audience. Working with a complementary and non-competitive business in order to help reach out and tap into the most engaged part of their audience, because you know that they'll probably love what you do too. That's a really crucial way of getting more people to come. Social media, of course. Any type of brand awareness activities, that all falls under that getting more people to come umbrella. You can see that an effective sales strategy will really take into account not just one thing, but actually a myriad of different ways that you can get more traffic to your website. Paid advertising, for example, may be one of those elements in your get more people to come strategy, and really thorough, well thought out influencer strategy may be part of that. There are lots of different elements that make that up. So that's one element of having your sales strategy, is what you're actually going to be doing across, not just, oh, I'm going to try and reach out more on Instagram, but actually looking at the whole breadth of activities that you could be doing and having a plan for each one. Different sales channels can also fit under this banner, if you like. So getting more people to come could involve, for example, selling through a marketplace, or being on a third-party wholesale marketplace if you're somebody who wholesales, going to a trade show, going to a consumer event, running a pop-up. All of these things, they all incorporate different ways of getting more people to come. So that's one element of your sales strategy. And again, having a really good breadth of ideas and ways of getting people to come, having goals and clear plans for each one of those, and deciding which one you're going to focus on at a time. That's all really important parts of your sales strategy. The other element is thinking about your conversion rate. That's getting more people to buy when they do come. So thinking about ways that you're going to trial and improve your conversion rate so that you're not just getting more people to come, getting more eyes on the business. You are really working on making the most of that traffic when it does come. This could also incorporate things like having an abandoned cart sequence in your email settings so that, again, you're maximizing the chance of somebody making a purchase when they do come. Getting people to spend more every time they come. This is a really interesting one. There's lots of different things to look at here, lots of different techniques to try. But it's really about, number one, recognizing that actually one of the easiest ways to increase your average order value is to have more returning customers, because people tend to spend more the second, third, fourth, fifth time that they shop with the company as opposed to the first time. So that's a really great way to start thinking about it, but also just thinking about customer service, thinking about add-on purchases, thinking about different ways that you can increase your average order value. Getting people to come back more often, loyalty, that's really important as well. In fact, there's so much research out there talking about in 2022, the focus has really switched on a lot of big retailers from that client acquisition, customer acquisition, where they were perhaps spending a huge amount of time, money, resources, working on cold traffic, so people who'd never come across their business before. And now a lot of that is shifting towards retention, so looking at their warmest clients, looking at the people who've purchased from them before. So my favorite saying, nobody's more likely to buy from you than someone who's already bought from you. So it's really important to take that into consideration and have that as part of your sales strategy in 2022 as well. Email marketing is great for this. This is a really strong application for email marketing. Even if you don't have a customer loyalty scheme, then, for example, having a sequence of emails set up to re-engage existing customers can be a really strong way of building loyalty, or creating offers and ideas that are going to appeal to repeat customers, for example, will all help you with retaining your customers. And of course, loyalty schemes are great too. There's plenty of freemium models, so you can try it for free, and maybe as you grow, there's a cost attached, but lots of opportunities to try things out first. So why not have a look and see what works for you? because that idea of having a community and getting people to come back and buy from you more often is really, really important part of growing your sales. And really, it's really important part of having a rounded sales strategy. So being able to map out for your business, what are the key activities that you need to do that map across this whole customer journey, the getting more people to come, the getting more people to buy when they do come, the getting them to spend more and getting them to come back more often. Have you got activities that are attached to all of those different steps? And that also, I think, helps you when you start thinking about it like that. You'll see that then if one element of this plan isn't working as well as another, then it gives you that flexibility. It gives you that resilience because you've got the ability to kind of fine tune your strategy, maybe try a little bit more of something that is working, put a bit more time, effort, energy into that, as opposed to getting sucked into or bogged down by something that's not working as well. But if you have a very, very simple sales strategy, which is, I want to, as I said, keep picking on social media because it's the one I find that really sucks up people's time and attention. If your sole focus is on social media, for example, then you may well find it hard for whatever reason, the algorithm shifts or your content isn't as engaging anymore for your ideal customer, or just in general, your reach has dropped. So if you have all of these different elements in a sales strategy, then you're not as vulnerable. So what else do you need then for an effective sales strategy? We talked about these 4 ways to grow your sales. That's obviously a really important part of it. The second thing I'd say arguably is a focus on product. So your product business is really driven by your product. And I would have to say that everybody I speak to who has been having a good time in the last 6 months, let's say, it's really come down to products that have really captured the customer's imagination, that have been ideal for where the customer is right now. Because at the end of the day, you can have the best marketing in the world, but if the product isn't up to scratch, then it's just not going to sell in the long term. So I always use the example of the Fire Festival. If you haven't seen that Netflix documentary, go check it out. And it's a really great example of how they had the best marketing in the world. They used the best social media agencies, but the actual product, the event itself was terrible. So you don't want to be in that situation. But more to the point, I think that we can't ignore the role that products play in sales strategy, because your marketing is really important, but the best sales strategy is a great product strategy. If you have a really great product that people just absolutely love, they will talk about it to their friends. They will come back and buy from you time and time again. They will do a certain amount of your marketing for you. And also, it's just, if you can get something that really captures people's imagination, then even at a time when they're not spending huge amounts of money on various different things, if you've got something that has that emotional reaction that they just love, then that is what you want, and that is what you want in your business. So I definitely think that a sales strategy has got to take into consideration a product strategy. What are you learning from your bestsellers? What are they telling you? Do you really understand what your best products are telling you in terms of the direction that you need to take the business? Are you maximizing all of your bestsellers? Are you really milking them hard? Are you making sure that if, for example, you have a t-shirt with a best-selling design, do you also have your sweatshirts with that design on as well? Have you put that design onto other products? If you've got a color of sweatshirt that's your most popular color sweatshirt, but you don't have that as a t-shirt, what could you do there? If you have a candle and one particular fragrance is the best, then is that fragrance replicated across all of the items that you offer and all of the sizes? So lots of different elements to this and lots of different ways that you can drill into it. But I really think the important thing here is for you to make sure that you have a strategy in place in terms of looking at your products, understanding them, developing them, continuing to move them on so you're not resting on your laurels. It's really tempting if you run a product business, once you have that situation that you're in where you've found a formula that works, to kind of say, yes, that's it. I've got a formula. But ultimately, you have to keep moving them products on because your customer will eventually want something different. Now, probably not as soon as you might think. Another thing sometimes happens is that we get tired of our bestsellers before our customers do. Make sure you've got the most that you can out of a product, but at the same time, be testing things. Always have one eye to the future. It really helps you, especially if you're in an industry where you get a lot of copycats. If you've had situations where your product's being copied, Make sure that you're always looking on to the next thing and trialing what's the next best thing, what is really going to keep serving my customer, because it will shift and it will change. It will change seasonally, it will change year to year. And it's really important to understand that and just keep experimenting and have a really strong sense of what your product should be and what your product strategy is to help you keep you moving forward. As I said, everybody who has had, I won't say easier time because I don't know if anyone's had an easy time anytime recently, but the businesses that really tap into what their customer wants and create products that serve those needs and ignite those desires, they're the ones, generally speaking, who are able to keep selling, because we've all seen it. We used to call these products the shopper stoppers. You're kind of browsing, imagine you're browsing Instagram or you're browsing a physical shop and you see something, you just think, yes, that's amazing. When was the last time you had that reaction as a consumer? And what can you do to keep trying to invoke that reaction? Even if you don't feel like you always hit the mark, but how can you keep trying to invoke that reaction in your customer? And also just really following the patterns of the year. I think this is, again, something that if you look at the size of big businesses and what they're doing, the amount of money they spend in researching consumer habits, they have a very strict calendar of what is happening throughout the year. They will reflect in the summer months what their customers are most likely to want in the summer and the winter months, around the gift giving occasions. All of those things are very closely mapped out, because ultimately retail product businesses, that it's a game of percentages. It's a game of probabilities. What is your customer most likely to be wanting to buy at this point in time? And making sure that you have products that reflect that. So clothing companies change their entire color palettes and product offerings and types of clothing that they offer. Everything else, they change that throughout the year according to what their customers thinking about. Same with home companies. They will be offering outdoor living in the summer and cozy living in the winter. Supermarkets, they will be really closely tailored to particular events. So if it's a bank holiday weekend, all the barbecues pop up, all that kind of thing. That's the way that big businesses really operate. And have a think about, for you, for your business, does your product strategy, number one, do you have a product strategy? Number two, does it shift throughout the year? Number three, are you really putting yourself in your customer's shoes and thinking about what it is that they want at that particular time? What else do you need for an effective strategy? Well, you have to have a method of tracking it and tracking effectiveness. This really comes down to your sales plan. If you don't have a plan for your sales month to month, then I really highly recommend getting one. It gives you a great ability to understand what you're aiming for each month. It gives you a great ability to really tune into what you actually need to do in your business in order to pay your bills, to break even, to pay yourself what you want to pay yourself, and to hit your financial goals and personal goals as a business owner. So having a plan is really important. Having a written strategy, I think, is also really important, so you know what you're trying to do, various different elements of your business. And then I think you need a way of assessing how you're doing against your plan, whether that's a monthly check-in or a monthly report or a dashboard or something that you create that allows you to really tune in and have a look at, okay, this is what my plan was. This is what I said I was going to do. Did I do it? Is it working? Couple that with a good analytics like Google Analytics, and you've got the ability to start really saying, okay, this is not only what I'm trying to do with my business, but this is how effective I'm being. And then the final point I'd like to make about what you need for sales strategy, for a resilient sales strategy, is a way of organizing your strategy as well. So yes, having it written, yes, having a plan, but having something like a trading calendar. It's a format that I've used with lots of clients. It helps marry together product development, product launches with other marketing activity, other themes in the year, key dates, key awareness days, key dates for the business and for you as a business owner. And it just helps get it all really nicely organized so that you've got it in a way that's easily accessible for you, that you can share it with other team members, that it's really clear what you're supposed to be doing, and also just helps you have that slightly zoomed out look. So on a week-to-week basis, you're not kind of scrabbling around thinking, what should I be doing now? You've got a clear strategy that you're working your way through and clear goals that you're working towards. So those are the elements then of having a resilient retail strategy. And as I said, it is a really challenging time, but I think if you take the time to map out the different ways of growing your sales, looking at not just getting more people to come, but all 4 ways, getting more people to come, getting them to buy when they do come, getting them to spend more each time, getting them to come back more frequently, then that will really help you, and it will help with some of that inconsistency in trying to smooth out the kind of peaks and troughs in demand, especially if you're able to introduce other sales channels if appropriate. So for example, people who have both wholesale and direct to consumer often find that they have a slightly smoother cash flow than people who are reliant on just one or the other. You also need that focus on product, so making sure you have a really clear product strategy. And you need to have a method of tracking, a way of actually putting numbers against your plan, but also key checkpoints, maybe once a month, maybe once a quarter, to keep checking back against your plan and against your strategy, and to be able to use that to help move forward and also adjust as you go and make any changes that you need. And then also you need a way of organizing your strategy so you know each week what actions you need to take. And it's a document that you can easily share with other members of your team, so you're not being responsible for being the only one for making this strategy happen. So I'd love to know what you thought about today's episode. If you found that useful, why not hop over to Instagram at Resilient Retail Club and let me know. And as always, I love to see where you are when you're tuning in. And if you feel like you want to have a resilient retail strategy, but you're maybe not sure where to get started, then I do have a new offering called the Resilient Retail Strategy. You can find out more at resilientretailclub.com/strategy. And you'll be able to take a look at not just working with me on a sales strategy, but also on profits as well, how we can work together to tailor a strategy that is designed exclusively for you and for your business to help you get really clear about what you need to do to keep moving your business forward in 2022. So that's resilientretailclub.com/strategy. And if you've got any questions, then do pop me an email, Catherine@resilientretailclub.com. If you have a second to rate and review the podcast, then that would be fantastic. You can rate it inside the Spotify app or on iTunes. And of course, if you subscribe or follow the podcast, you'll be the first to know about each and every new episode. If you've enjoyed this week's episode, then I invite you to check out resilientretailclub.com. The Resilient Retail Club is the membership for anyone wanting to start, grow, or scale a profitable product business. No more trawling Google trying to find the answers to your questions or wading through general business advice that speaks mainly to service-based businesses. Whether you're still at the idea stage or you've been going for a while but want to get more focused and organised when it comes to your business, the Resilient Retail Club is the place for you. With a library of courses tailored to creative product businesses, several live sessions a month, and a supportive and active community, the Resilient Retail Club is the perfect membership to help you hit your goals faster. Check it out at resilientretailclub.com.